Hello and welcome to Powerviz Visuals for Power BI. In this video, I'm excited to give you a walkthrough on our latest visual Sunburst chart by Powerviz. The Sunburst chart is not just your ordinary visualization tool, it's a dynamic powerhouse designed to bring hierarchical data sets to life. Imagine your data represented through a series of concentric arcs, each telling a unique part to whole story. This chart is a game changer, allowing you to visualize complex structures in an intuitive and visually appealing manner. If you haven't subscribed to our TrueViz channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button to get all updates on our latest visuals and features. Without any further delay, let's dive right into exploring the Sunburst visual. First of all, let me show you how to import the Sunburst visual from the app source. All you have to do is click on this drop down over here, scroll down and select get more visual. So this will take you to the app source. In the search bar over here, type in sun, and then the first visual that you see, Sunburst by Powerviz, is the visual that you will have to click on. Once you click on that, you get an option where you can add this particular visual to your Power BI report. So let's click on add and wait for a moment while this particular visual gets added to your Power BI report. Now that I have imported the visual, let's add the Sunburst visual to our report view here, and let's begin by adding in some data points to this particular visual. Let's start by adding in the job role into the category, and then let's add the number of employees into the measure. And as you can see over here, we are displaying the top 5 categories and then grouping the rest of the categories as others. Now this is one of the default behavior of this particular visual. Of course, if you want to customize that, you can change that under advanced settings to suit your needs and requirements. So let's proceed and add in more data points to show you how powerful this particular visual is. So let me bring in the attrition field into the category section over here. And now on the outer section, you're able to see the attrition, which is yes or a no. And within the inner circle over here, you're able to see the job roles that are available. Now let me quickly add in another field into the category section over here. So now on the innermost circle, I have the department followed by the job roles followed by the attrition. And now if you have to drill down and take a look at a particular department, for example, if you want to take a look at the sales department, you want to see what is happening within that particular department, you can simply click on the department sales over here. This will drill down or zoom through that particular department and show you more information related to the job role and attrition. For example, there are 3 different job roles available within the sales department, which is sales executive, sales representative and manager. If you want to drill down further, you can simply click on manager and be able to see what is happening with that particular department, with that job role and the attrition rate. And then if you want to go one level back or you want to go one level up, you can simply click on the back button over here. You will go one level up. There's also a cool feature where you will be able to add annotations on the arcs of this visual. So the way you add the annotations is head over to the annotation icon over here, then click on create and then choose the arc where you want to annotate. For example, I can add an annotation under the technology department because the attrition is quite high over here. I can now enter text and provide more information to the end users. For example, I can say work-life balance rating is quite low. And there are various options here to format the text as well. You can also add a link if you would like to. You can add an image. You can also add the measures that you have in the measure section over here and choose the different kind of connectors that are available and then click on apply. So when you click on apply, you get a message or an annotation, something like this. You can also hide this if you would like to by simply going back to your annotation icon over here and then click on hide. Now next to the annotation icon over here, there's also an icon for grid view. So when you click on that, you'll be able to see the grid view of the data points that you have added into your visual. For example, I have my departments that is being displayed over here. You also have the capabilities here to drill down into your data based on the data fields that you have added into your category section. And now let's head over to the advanced settings of this visual to be able to truly explore the capabilities of this visual. So let's start from the chart options that I have over here. There are various options to choose from. The first option and the default option here is the full circle over here. The second option here is the semicircle if you just want to have a semicircle like this, and then you also have the 270 degree option over here. you have your 270-degree visual available, and then you also have the custom option which will let you choose your start angle and also your end angle. And then there are some options over here which will help you control the animation of the visual. For example, the first one which says pop out on mouse over. So if you hover over any of these arcs, you see that it is popping out. And if you turn this off and click on apply, you see that it is now static. Now let's take a look at the next option that is available over here, which is data colors. There are various color palettes to choose from. By default, the Power BI theme gets applied to the visual, but if you would like to change that, there are options like your single color, wherein you can apply a particular color to all of the visual, and then there's also gradient where you can choose your maximum, middle color and also the minimum color. And then there's also by category, you can choose a specific color for a particular category. There's also something called sequential, we have diverging and also qualitative colors. Now you get to choose the specific color for the others category by simply turning this option on which says customize other color and choose a particular color for that particular category. For example, I can choose red over here and apply and click on apply here, and as you can see over here, the others category is highlighted in red. There's also an option over here which says reduce opacity for child nodes, and when you do this, the opacity of the child nodes will get reduced. Now let's take a look at the next option available here, which is fill patterns. Now when you enable this, there are various options that are available. You can apply a particular pattern to the particular category. For example, if I want to highlight the others category as forward, distant, backslash, there are various options here to choose from. Let's say I want to highlight that particular category which is others. I can simply click on this and click on apply. Now my others category is now highlighted. Now let's say for example I want to have a different pattern for the technology category. There are various options here to choose from. If you do not like any of the patterns that are available, you can also upload your custom image fill pattern with an image size of 32 by 32 pixels and then apply that particular pattern. For now, let me just select circles and then click on apply. All of my technology category is now highlighted with these circles. Now let's take a look at the next option here, which is the arc settings. Now you will be able to control the radius, the corner radius of the arcs. For example, if I change this to 5 and click on apply, you can see that the corners of these arcs have curvy edges, and you can play around with the padding as well. Let's say if you want to have more padding between these arcs, you can do that. You can apply and there will be more padding between the arcs. You can also enable stroke over here. Let's say for example, if you want to have a different color, let's say maybe let's go ahead with yellow and then click on apply again. You can see that we've now applied the stroke. You can also control the width of that particular stroke. If I increase the width here and click on apply, you see that the width of the strokes has increased. Now let's head over to the next option here, which is labels. The first option here is you can either choose to enable the data labels or turn off the data labels. The next option here is the orientation of the labels. Right now it is curved. I can also change this to linear, and the orientation of the label changes over here. There's also a display style where you can either choose to only display the category, or you can also choose to display category and data value as well. You also have an option to control the font size, the font family, the styling of the font, the text size, the color, etc. There's also an option where you can enable the background and you can choose a background color of your choice. Now apart from data labels, we also have something called as leaf labels, which will help you gain more insights into your data. So let's quickly turn this on and see what happens. So there are different display styles to choose from. You can choose either to display the category information or the data value or percentage of total, or data value and percentage of total, or you can display all detail labels that are available. So let's choose all display labels here and click on apply. For a moment, let me just get rid of the attrition field from my category, and now you can see that we are now displaying the job role here and the number of employees within that job role and also the percentage of total. Now let's take a look at the next option here, which is sorting. sorting, I can now enable sorting and choose the different fields that are available to sort the data. For example, I have job role, I have number of employees, which is the measure in our case, and then we also have department. So let's choose number of employees, and then you also get to choose the sort order, whether you want ascending or descending. Let's choose ascending and click on apply. So as you can see over here, it is now sorted clockwise. All of the smaller numbers are on the right side of the visual and the bigger numbers here are on the left side of the visual. Now let's head over to the next section, which is ranking. Now this is an important and interesting feature that is available within the Sunburst visual. You can either turn this on or off. For example, let me turn this off and click on apply. Let me get rid of the department from here just to show you how this is working. So when I created this visual, you saw that we only display top 5 categories and group the rest of them as others. And now that I have turned the ranking off from here, I am now displaying all the categories that are available within the job role. I'm not grouping any of the categories here. If you want to enable the grouping, you can simply go to ranking here, turn on enable, and then you have an option here to rank based on top n or bottom n. For example, let's say if I just want to display top 3 categories and group the rest of them as others, I can simply type in 3 over here and show remaining as others checkbox ticked over here and click on apply, and my top 3 categories are being displayed over here and rest of them have been grouped as others. The ranking feature is a game changer, and we are committed to minimize the dependency on complex DAX expressions. This means more functionality with less code, ultimately empowering you to achieve your insights faster and more efficiently. We also have the bottom n over here. You can choose to display, let's say for example, the bottom 5 categories and group the remaining top categories as others. So if I click on apply over here, now these are my bottom 5 categories and then the rest of the categories here are grouped as others. Now let's take a look at the next section here, which is the center circle. Now this is an interesting feature where you will be able to provide more information about your data. Now let's say consider this as a donut chart, and if I ask you a question, what's the total number of employees present in this data set? You will obviously have to refer to another visual where you will display the total number of employees present in that data set. But in this particular visual, you will be able to add that information right here in the middle. Let's click on add layer over here, go to my measure and select the field name. In this case, it's the number of employees. I can choose the field aggregation and then click on save layer and then click on save again. I will now be able to display the total number of employees present in that particular organization. I can add in more information to this as well. If I go back to my center circle and click on add new layer, there are various options that are available. Right now we've just added a measure. I can also add a text. I can also add an icon. I can also add an image if I would like to. For example, just displaying the 1.47K does not mean anything to me because the user might not understand what is 1.47K. I can add in more information to the center circle. Let's call this as total employees and then make this a bold, and let's also increase the size of this and click on save layer, click on save. I am now able to display meaningful information here which says total employees and 1.47K. I can also control the order of the information that is visible over here. For example, if I want to move total employees to the top, I can do that. I can simply double click and then drag and drop this section over here and then click on autosave. I can now display total employees on top and the number below. And now let's head over to the next section, which is leaf label images. You will be able to display images against every single arc over here when you add the base64 encoded images link into the images section over here. Let's head over to the next section, which is conditional formatting. You can click on add rule. So this is where you will be able to conditionally format the colors in this particular visual. You can either do it by the measure or by category. You will have to give it a rule name. For example, let's give it as test for now. You can apply this to a measure. You can choose a measure over here, and based on the value, whether it is equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, you can apply a particular color. You can also do that by category. Let's say for example, if my department is, let's say, technology, I can choose a particular color for the technology department. I can, let's say for example, choose this yellow color here for technology, click on apply and click on save, and now my technology has turned yellow. You can add as many rules as you want here, either by measure or by category. Now let's take a look at the next feature here, which is show condition. Show condition feature is a feature which will help you either display the sunburst visual or hide the sunburst visual based on a certain condition. For example, let me go back to the report over here. I have added two different slicers over here. Now most of the users have this requirement wherein they want to display a particular visual only when certain slicers have been selected. For example, unless and until I make a selection from my department slicer and from my business slicer, I do not want to display this particular visual. So we can control this using the show condition feature. I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we will have to do is we will have to create a measure which will return us a boolean value. When I say boolean value, I'm talking about either 1 or 0. So let's see how we can create this. I'm going to create a new measure here. Let's call this as show is equals to, I'm going to use an if condition over here and check whether my particular column has been filtered or not. So I'm going to use the is filtered option here and I'm going to pass in my department column. So, but in this case I have two different slicers to choose from. So what I will do is I'm going to combine this with an and condition and I'm going to say is filtered again, pass in my business travel field over here. And now I'm checking if both of my columns have been filtered or not. If they are filtered, then I want this to return 1, else I need this to return a 0. I'm going to close the bracket here and confirm. Let me bring in this measure into a card over here and see that it is now displaying 0 over here. If I select one of the slicer here, it will still remain 0. And when I select another slicer here, this will turn into 1. So what I will now have to do is select my sunburst visual. Let me go to the build a visual tab now, and within the show section over here, I'm going to bring in the measure and add that particular measure over here. So let's go back to our advanced settings now. Under show condition, it is now enabled automatically. I have the show field selected, which is show. I can now choose to display a custom message whenever the user has not selected any value from those two slices. I'm now saying please choose department and business travel field. I can choose whether to display the icon or not. I also can control the font size, the styling, etc., the color, and now click on apply. Now that it is applied, let's go back to my report and let's uncheck one of the slicer over here. So you see that it now says please choose department and business travel field. If my slicer values are not selected, I will not be displaying the sunburst visual in this case. Only when I select the department and the business travel field is when I will be displaying my sunburst visual. And last but not the least, you also have different modes here. You can either choose dark mode or light mode. So thank you for joining me in this insightful journey through the Powerviz Sunburst visual. For those ready to supercharge their data-driven decisions, head over to the Microsoft App Stores and explore the Sunburst chart from Powerviz. We hope you liked this video. Your feedback and support is important for us to continue to enhance the visual experience in Power BI. See you on the next one.